And we're live from Atlanta,
Hotlanta.
Georgia. I don't know if who hosts the New City podcast. Is that Sam? Does he have a welcome? Hello, and welcome to the New City Classical Academy podcast.
Yeah, he has a whole opening that you should have memorized.
Yep. Tonight I'm your interim.
Struck out already.
Tonight I'm your interim host. Hey, we started without you. You can take Robert's mic if you want in here.
At any time.
He's also currently muted.
Only Roberts.
All right, so we are at the annual Association of Classical Christian Schools annual Repairing the Ruins conference. So we just wrapped up day number 1 of the conference, and this is also the annual post-conference from the Airbnb sitting on the couch live stream recap.
Yeah. So how many times? How many years has everybody been to the ACCS conference? Some of y'all been here a few times.
My watch just gave me a notification that New City Classical Academy is live on YouTube right now.
Oh, that's cute.
That was nice.
Should tune in.
That was real nice. Sorry, what was the question?
Alex, how many times you been to ACCS conference?
Don't remember.
This is number 5.
5 times. All 3 of you?
No, just. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Right?
Alex, John, and me. Yes.
Yeah. 5 times. Was today the best?
No.
Bummer.
No, but see, here's the deal. It's really, really hard to compete with our year 1. So first is just
It was life changing.
it was absolutely life changing. Just like the first time you're coming to anything that's this significant. On top of that, it was like so they had skipped 2020. Right. And so they were coming back in 21.
So everybody's looking forward to
So
it.
it's like, first big in-person event or whatever. Then we are in that room as Roe gets overturned.
Oh, yeah. You told me that story today.
And so George Grant, impromptu, comes on stage to basically make this announcement to everybody. We find out he is literally on the outside the courtroom the day that Roe happened, and for the past 50 years has been fighting for this day to happen.
Wow.
Right? Breaks out into impromptu psalm singing. Bodie Baucham's there, completely scraps the plenary talk that he was going to give and goes right into talking about abortion and unbelievable.
So that's hard to compete with. That's what you're saying.
So hard to compete with.
But Doug's talk today was pretty good.
What's good?
Well, it was similar to the talk that he gave that year,
Yeah.
which is what kinda grabbed a hold of us.
That's when you got that post-millennial vision.
I already had that, but now he's doing a talk that's in alignment with that,
Yeah.
with this.
No, but that's when I feel like from our interview, that's when you saw the school as a part of the post-millennial vision.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. That's what captured you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Right.
That's great.
Yeah, so it is wild to think where we were at 5 years ago. Even the headspace. This wasn't even an idea at that point. We didn't the first year we did not go into that thinking we got to go figure out how to start a school.
Yeah.
Right?
Wasn't even an idea yet.
No.
And now we're looking down the barrel of our 4th fall.
That's right. Yeah, so I think main thing is just kind of recapping what the heck it is that we're doing here. And I will say we interacted with some a handful of profound ideas, as well as just
We did.
being reminded of the good work that we are doing. Starting with Doug's talk, very simply, what time is it? Right? Where are we? So I guess if anybody wants to start with that.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking during it, it just reminded me of that first year that we went. That was a similar talk that he gave. And then when he was done, I was like, okay, I can go home.
That's literally what you said to me.
Yeah. Just because, I mean, that's kind of mostly my role now, John's role, right? Josh Andy's role for the board is to set the vision of the school and
Yeah.
Continue to put that vision in front of people. So it just reminded me of what we're doing, why we're doing it. And, I'm not going to necessarily get a ton out of sitting in a workshop where you're learning, why you do recitations or why you do these memory things in
Mhm.
grammar school class. I basically can hear Doug and then, go and have conversations with people about it. So, yeah, I was, it was a good morning for sure.
What were a couple of the things that grabbed you today? I mean, because it was gripping, right? Doug's thing was, I mean, I was the same way. I was like, I wanted to jump up and ready to go get in the battle.
Well, just anytime you're talking about what we're doing being connected to the mission of God,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, Great Commission, he mentioned, extension of the cultural mandate, right? God's given us a purpose here as the church, and we're supposed to go and disciple the nations, right? And so I've always been part of that. And then after that first talk, and then just continuing to see what ACCS is doing, see how they fit into God's plan for the world to push back darkness, right? To take the culture captive. And then obviously how we're doing it within our own context, in our own community.
Yeah.
So just anytime you're reminded of that. And I mean, he's just really good at pointing things out that are happening in the culture and calling them out, and just makes you remember how important it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the part of the whole point. I mean, he even said it in his thing. He says it every year. He wants everybody to leave here encouraged and overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Encouraged to get back in the fight. Right. The timing of this comes off of, hey, the month of May is a monstrous month for parents, teachers, and you're coming off of the time of the year where you're like, wow, this is do I really want to be doing this? Right. Give it a couple weeks, then come back in. It's like, hey, as we turn the page on this year, let's refocus, right? Let's get the vision back in front of your eyes to go out there and get back to work, right? This is good work that you're doing. What time is it? Right? Where are we? Be clear on what it is that we're doing, and both take that as fuel to get back in it, as well as seeing this work is as large as our civilization.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about here. And that should overwhelm you, but to the point that you are driven to rely on the work that God is doing, not just how good of a school that you can build.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sorry, John.
I was just gonna
it was connected to something that I think is extremely important for evangelical Christians to hear. And those of you that know me know this is what I'm always kind of talking about. But there's too much individualism in evangelical Christianity. They think it's all about their relationship with Jesus. All the Bible teaches is how one is saved, right? That's all they care about. He did a gospel presentation in that. He reminded us that we're saved, by grace through faith, not by works. But then he said, but you're saved for these works. And he said, part of what you're doing as a teacher, right? Every day you're having a conversation with a fourth grader is part of the good works that were created before the foundation of the world. So he just, again, instead of this truncated gospel that most Christians have, unfortunately, he expanded it at that. No, Christ is making all things new.
Yeah.
And he wants to use us as instruments in his hands to complete that work. So, and you can get caught up in just, oh man, I have to teach this kid how to read, right? This kid doesn't get this math lesson for the 15th time that I've told him, right? Every time I can't get this kid to stay still or be quiet. And we forget, this is part of the good work that God created for me to do. And he's also doing good work in me through all the stuff that's happening, in a classroom. So,
John, what do you have?
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, what I was going to add was maybe add some color on to the part of the title of Doug's speech, which was, what time is it? Everybody's heard that. And that makes its rounds, on all the social medias, people asking what time is it. But Doug says, what time is it in the light of eternity? And that gets to one of the big points of his speech was, and he compared it to a mortar shot being close range, short range.
Right.
And, really think about a mortar shot compared to, some other projectile, like a missile, like the ranges aren't even close. They're in when you compare them, it's laughable. And I think, that's what I took away from it. And not only was it, like Alex said, it's a kick, to get back in there and get your chin up and go fight, but also to be thinking about the things that transcend. It's not just me reacting to this thing and firing a mortar shot. It's, it's having eyes on these bigger picture things, salvation, these things that are eternal and long lasting. So just a great pep talk for everybody. And he did it in his typical Doug Wilsonian fashion. Very eloquent and did not pull any punches either.
Witty, not winsome.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of being winsome, he wanted to win some, which I liked. Yeah, that was encouraging. I thought, and you think about the encourage and the overwhelm, like wanting people to leave that way. Not only was I encouraged by the content of his speech, but it gave me courage seeing the stones that he was communicating with. There were people in the room, right, that like probably aren't with him on everything, and he was still willing to cut against the grain and say what was true and take a stand for the glory of God. And you could sense that happening in the room, and that gives me courage, because we're all going to have to step into a room and do the same thing at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess to kind of be a little more explicit about some of the things that he was saying. So he kind of starts with, is it Breitbarth that coins this whole worship is upstream of culture, is upstream of politics.
Yeah, well, Breitbart said culture was. Sorry,
you're good.
Breitbart said culture was upstream of politics, and then
Right.
Doug added
Right.
additional layers to
Yes, and so basically he's like, hey, we need to understand this flow as including worship as our foundational element of life, essentially, leads us to education, right? And education being that is the primary tool of cultural formation, right? That is the thing that takes us, turns our worship into a good culture, right? Which in turn has good politics and continues to play itself out into every inch of life, right?
What I like, I don't know if I'm active or not.
You are.
I am. Okay, just make sure. Well, I like the comparison he made with the secular culture as well, of just, for example, the nihilism comment that he made was just absolutely phenomenal, because he talked about how, in comparison, what we see in the culture in public schools is that with nihilism, what do you get from nihilism? You get nihilistic students, and he kind of explains the consequences of that as well.
Somebody want to walk through that analogy? Not even an analogy. It's just a fact.
Right.
Somebody other than Robert.
I'm going to butcher it. So.
All right. Well, I'll step on it.
To what his point was is that they're teaching these things in the school and they don't actually believe it.
Right.
Because if they did believe it,
they'd be applauding school shooters.
Yes, exactly.
Right. When you teach a child that nothing in this world matters, that you are essentially you came out of nothing, you are just simply a product of a natural selection, and you are going nowhere. There is no point to your life other than maybe pleasure. Okay. When you teach a kid that, it is very logical for them to fully grasp onto that and do something like murder people that they don't agree with.
Yeah.
Right? That is a natural outworking of that worldview.
Yeah.
And so his point was, if we are logically consistent, you should be celebrating these kids.
Yeah.
Right?
You're graduating all these other kids. This kid who's a school shooter is not even making it to graduation, but you should actually flip it around. He's the only one that got the worldview that you've been teaching the entire time.
Right. Took it to its extent.
Yeah. What was his one-liner about recycling?
You teach kids that the world doesn't matter. Now go recycle.
Yeah.
Nothing we do matters.
just go and recycle.
Yeah, that was good.
Hey, if you turn your mic towards your mouth instead of towards the girls talking over there, it'll get more
Is
of
that better?
you and less of them.
Just falls forward. I'll just hold it.
It's good.
All right. Anything else from Doug? Kev, you got any notes over there?
Nope.
That's a
I
lie.
took some
You
notes,
have
but we were
notes.
shamed into note taking after the fact. So.
All right, let's just go. Let's just go right into it. So the big thing here is basically one of the next guys who came up and presented after Doug essentially told us, "Hey, note taking is inhibiting your education."
Yeah, retention, ability to focus, which I thought was interesting. I was going to ask you this, but I'll ask you now. So I think of the classes I taught, I think Kate was probably one of the most voracious note takers, but she's also a really good student. So I think there's probably exceptions to this where some students are going to perform well regardless of note taking.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see like all the rationale he's laying out, how that can apply.
Yeah. Well, you're just asking how do you think it affected Kate? Is that way?
Well, I was just, as he was saying that, I was thinking through like, all right, who in the classes I taught took a ton of notes? And I feel like Kate was always taking notes, but she was also super engaged, super involved.
Yeah.
He's thinking about the outliers,
Yeah.
I mean, the note taking,
the exceptions.
the note taking was just an example, but I think he was talking about doing things that captivate your whole mind that you can concentrate on.
Agree. I don't think that discredits the reality of what he actually means by.
I think it could be anything though. It could be a fidget spinner. It could be a note. It could be
sure.
It could be a number of things that break your concentration. So his point was tell really good stories, and they will concentrate. Also, eliminate the distractions that prevent people from listening. And
I don't think it was about that. I think
Yeah.
what he's saying is in order, part of it absolutely is you have to keep their attention, but the purpose of them taking notes is because in their mind, I have to remember whatever you're going to test me on.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have that, then I'm going to fail a test. And that's all that matters is if I pass the test. And no kid's going to actually love their education if that's
Right.
what it's about.
So
It's just-
when the goal of education is to shape the love of the student, to shape them to love the good, true, and beautiful, the note taking, test taking process can not only get in the way of that, it can actually inhibit them from learning and testing well.
I didn't
Hold
go
the
that
hold the
way
mic closer to your
I
mouth.
thought,
Well,
I
here-
thought the note
Eat the mic.
taking was
Eat the mic.
the note taking was a comedic, relatable story. It was a device to get your attention. Like he brought up meetings too. For
Well,
work.
we also, just a second, John, we also circled back
We
with him.
talked-
So a
we
little bit of a
talked to him
shameless
much more.
plug. We ended up interviewing him, and I asked him, I said, can you give a recap of your plenary so that we can build on that in our conversation? And he wasn't using it as an illustration. He was saying his point was that note taking, he walked it back a little bit. He said, and there are certain situations where note taking might be necessary, but he said we need to get to a point.
And he said it's not like it's prohibited.
Yeah.
Right.
But like he said an exercise that he would recommend in a classroom was to go back to the days when this kind of education was beginning. Strip back your classroom all the way. When they didn't have paper, they didn't have pens, they didn't have all those things. Strip it all the way back and use it as an exercise to learn what actually would get kids to like remember.
Yeah, but the title of his presentation was "Learn from Elementary School Teachers."
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So this is a species. This is a technique. He's saying it could go to anything. And it goes in the context of fidget spinners too. Like kids in class that have to be doing something, they're breaking their concentration. Again, there is a lot of validity to not taking notes, but I think it could apply to anything.
Yeah.
That breaks your concentration. Because in the lower classes, the elementary school, they have rhythms and rituals. That was the other half of
Which
it.
he encouraged. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I think you're saying it extends beyond just note taking.
Yeah.
But that doesn't diminish the fact that it also very much focuses on note taking.
Yeah, but
He's not
his
excluding
presentation
note
wasn't
taking.
John,
Let's
Might
not
be our
take
most
what is
exciting,
are you a
recap.
note taker?
Yeah, I am.
So this is a personal attack, John.
No,
That's right.
it's actually not. I actually think he's right.
This
Well,
is the same argument when people say,
I just think
like
you're-
Jesus talking to the kids, saying like to these belong the kingdom of heaven. But of course not the kids. The kids don't belong in the kingdom of heaven. It's those like these. It's like, but no, Jesus was talking about the kids like these. but he's excluding the kids, and is everybody else like the kids? It's the same argument. It's like note taking, but it can't be note taking. It's like, no, his only example was note taking.
So if we
No,
back
he's
this
other
regenerate or
examples, though.
But his
unregenerate kids?
primary example.
It's a technique, though. You can't
I
walk
agree.
up to him and
I
say,
agree. It's
Let's talk about covenant
the
theology.
whole point
huh?
of your sermon was to not take your message was to not take notes, right? He would say, "No, you missed my point."
Okay.
No, I would say the principle, the primary application was on note
So
taking.
it's an application,
Yeah.
right?
Of
what?
a
rule.
principle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a principle.
Yeah, of a
Okay.
principle. Yeah, I would say it extends beyond note taking. I agree, but it certainly also includes note taking.
So
That was
his
he's a great
Might have to mute
orator. Like you said, he's a thespian. I'll give you that.
Kevin
turn it
wants
over
to
to
talk, and that doesn't happen often.
Let's
Mike-
get him in here.
John, you're muted.
Oh,
I was just going to say his whole thesis for his talk, I think the title was called "What Upper School Teachers Can Learn from
Yes.
Lower School Teachers."
you got it.
And so he's talking about how the most classical pieces of education that we see in our schools actually basically stop when you hit the logic stage, when you start
Mm.
having kids take notes, and it becomes so much more cerebral, and I mean, really, the anxiety and performance idols and all this stuff come up. And so he's looking at he says something like notes usually people take notes to prove their diligence, and he uses the examples of and students failing and comes to the teacher, and first thing teacher says is, well, let me see your notes. And then if they've taken immaculate notes and they're still failing, well, you need to study better, right? And so his point is all of I think there's definitely rituals and liturgies and chants and recitation and a lot of room for a lot of that. And I was thinking about that this afternoon too. He's looking at the most basic unit of learning in grammar school is beauty, right? And then when we naturally, as we grow up, we tend to focus more on goodness and truth and accuracy and precision. And so he's talking about, all right, how do we reclaim the storytelling of our classes? And I know, I mean, I fell off the horse on the wrong side with my church history class last year, and by the grace of God, there was some correction. But I told my students first day, I was like, hey, this is going to be a note-taking class. I'm going to lecture. I'm going to write the notes on the board. You're going to copy them down. We're going to talk about it a little bit. And about halfway through the year, I felt stuck because I knew that wasn't the right model, but I didn't know how to pivot. Right? I'd kind of gotten too far down the line. It's like, well, this is how I've built the syllabus, the assignments, and the quizzes, and all of this stuff. And so it's like, all right, we'll just basically try and do better next year. And so to see this and go, oh, right, yeah, I was something that was good and that was true. Right? You need to learn history. You need to understand the facts. And I was trying to teach the story of it, but to see from this, hey, there's a beautiful way to do it, right? And so just even spiking my imagination to think through. I mean, he uses the illustration. He said, oh gosh, when he's talking about if a kid misses class and your go-to is, well, get your notes from your classmate, or, oh, hey, we talked about the Reformation and John Calvin. And if you can summarize it in 5 minutes, then you're actually teaching your students that there's no value in them paying attention, because you're teaching them, hey, you missed a 46-minute class period, but here's the SparkNotes version. That's all you actually need.
Yeah. And when he recapped it, I think that helps clarify Kevin quite a bit, because when he recapped with us, I would say the main point of his talk wasn't to discourage note taking. It was actually more to discourage teachers from teaching in
Right.
a direction that was dependent upon note taking.
Because if a student wants to take notes, God bless.
Yeah, if it helps them, right? And Kate she takes a lot of notes, but I think the reason it helps is because she studies more than anybody else in my house. She studies the notes.
Right. Yeah. You study the notes, and then you're thinking, especially if you're able to both concentrate on what the teacher's saying and weed
And
out.
get it back in there.
Well, because one of the things that he talked through was was it the hand of the monkey?
Monkey's paw.
Monkey's paw.
Oh yeah, that story.
Yeah, which I had never heard. So it was interesting as he lays this out, and then he kind of retroactively goes back and says, well, there's a bunch of these details at the beginning of the story that I intentionally omitted, but in a lot of my classes, when I have what do you say, 55 students who summarize it, they ignore all that stuff because it's irrelevant. But if you're taking notes, you don't know it's irrelevant until you know what is actually relevant. And so in writing down irrelevant details, you might be missing things that are actually more relevant than what you're note taking, because you don't know how to weed the important and the unimportant from each other.
Yeah.
It's good. Anybody go to any good workshops?
Yeah, we started off with one. It was called "Where the Wild Things Are." This guy, Travis Koch, basically disciplining and discipling boys, and so he kind of took a 3 or 4-fold approach. So they started an all boys, what is it, like lower school, basically.
I want to say it's 3rd through 8th.
That sounds right.
Yeah, 3rd through 8th.
Yeah. So all boys school. How do we shape squirrely boys, stubborn boys, kids who seem to be slow to obey? And so he lays out he talks about the nature of boys. He says that he gives kind of 4 pieces here. They're kinetic, right? So they're squirrely. They want to move around. They don't want to sit still. They learn through motion. They're competitive, right? They desire victory and glory. They're curious. They prefer to take dominion. And he made a point here. He came up with a term. He called it intellectual atrophy. So like when boys are curious and their parents give them a phone or a video game or kind of a lesser pursuit that they'll cling on to because, hey, I'm created to take dominion, but it actually erodes their imagination and their ability to think and to reason well. And then the 4th piece he talks about, surprise, surprise, kids are fallen, right? They're sinners, we're sinners. And so then he calls it an OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, and act. And so when kids are being squirrely and you're looking at your kid and trying to identify, or your students, and trying to identify if you're having a hard time controlling the classroom, right? They're just, the boys specifically, they're constantly talking and moving and being disruptive. Then observation, what do I see? Like just basically what am I identifying as the problem? And then orient, right? And I think he talked about seeking counsel from others. Like, hey, do you see this as a problem? Does this seem like my problem as a teacher? Does this seem like an actual issue this kid or these kids are having across the classroom? And then from there, getting into, okay, if this is a true problem, what needs to be done, right? How do we fix it? And then making a plan and saying, what am I actually going to do? And my favorite example, he talked about consulting for a school that had taken away recess, like I believe from everybody.
Say that again.
At least as a consequence. So it seemed like there was a pattern of poor behavior, and not just a student, but I want to say the 6th grade class lost recess, let's say. And so he's consulting, and basically these kids' behavior got worse because they're kinetic, they're squirrely, they want to move. And you're saying, hey, because you couldn't sit still, now you have to sit still a whole lot, and just seeing the problems of that. Which I thought was really interesting from just a school admin and kind of classroom management perspective.
What was the solution?
It is a really it's an old concept. John Boyd came up with it he was a fighter pilot, and it was really a framework for pilots to make decisions under pressure in the cockpit or elsewhere. But then it was also applied to the rest of the military as well. So if you have an enemy who is doing something, you need to first understand what you're seeing and then how you're going to react to it. But the framework of it doesn't lend itself to okay, in this situation, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to OODA here, student. But it really is more just a mental framework. So you can work through a problem.
A decision making hierarchy.
Yeah. And he gives an adapted version of questions. And I think the questions that Kevin went through are actually really applicable in navigating conflict between 2 students or between a student and
for sure
an adult as well. So like what happened? What was the conflict? What happened? Like, what is your role? Like, are you upset that someone else cut person B, cut person C in line? It's not even your position to do anything about it, and you're just upset. Like, what can you do about it? What are you called to do about it? should it even be your thing to deal with in the first place? Should it be? Is it fixed? Is it an issue of skill or will? Or what is the underlying issue?
Yeah. The way he simplified it, he said, picture, what am I seeing? Plan, what are some options? And then execution, what needs to change? So to your answer, what was the solution?
To the recess thing.
I believe they asked him to stop consulting for them.
Well, so the school that he works at, they have a ton of activity, a ton of movement. So he said they have daily PE, which I think Jarek would get on board with.
Love it.
And he said they essentially have all of their classrooms have external facing doors, which he says is a massive security risk, but it is helpful. He made some joke about
like they can go directly outside.
Yeah. So like they go outside, and instead of just going from class A to class B, they just do like a 5-10 minute recess, go outside, play dodgeball quick, come back into class, which feels so counterintuitive because we've had issues in some of our classes where they have lunch recess and they come back and they're squirrely.
They don't wind down.
Right. So that's been something right afterwards. And thankfully, Mr. Arguello was in that session too. And so we were talking about this, like, all right, like, is this doable? Like, is there differences here because they're used to it? Is that the main thing? If they had more frequent recesses beforehand and then did it, now are they just used to transitioning back after recess and turning on their brains again? So that was the main thing, thinking through the practicalities of that.
So do you have ideas?
We need to probably think through it more. I mean, one of the things we had chatted through was very, very briefly, again, was if they had more frequent opportunities, like let's say instead of 30 minutes outside, let's say you have 3 10-minute breaks.
10 3-minute breaks.
10 3-minute breaks. Get out there.
Amazing.
And come back.
Gotta hurry. You have 2 minutes, 50 seconds left. Yeah, just having more frequent, maybe smaller breaks, go burn off activity. We talked about it's Tabatas. I always want to say ciabattas, but the Tabatas, where it's just
like crunchy bread.
A quick
make another bread joke.
a quick workout in the class and making some type of competition aspect to it, especially for the boys, could have some benefit.
Yeah.
Have somebody donate a bunch of treadmills and they just walk on a treadmill the whole class.
That's an option. You offering?
You're gonna sit on yoga balls here.
Right. Those yoga balls are cheap.
Until they start kicking them out from under each other.
Yeah.
As long as we don't have classroom that we have to set up and tear down, it's harder to stack 15 yoga balls, 15 chairs.
That classroom does it.
Right, that one doesn't.
Yeah. Or convert their build little risers for their desks. Stand them up.
Standing desks.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Got options.
Good.
All right. Any other stuff?
Other sessions?
I went to Recovering the Lost Tools of Loving by Scott Aniol. And
Kevin's concerned.
What's that?
Kevin's concerned about what you're going to say next.
That title.
And I didn't take any notes on it. But
Which was hard for him.
See, he didn't like the cock, but he obeyed.
Well,
He put it into practice.
But do you remember it though?
yeah, I do.
It's
But
because you didn't take notes. You
Wow.
weren't distracted.
Look at this. They're just coming at you, John.
The point about me not taking notes was just in jest. I actually took notes. So,
Prove me wrong.
Some. I've
And he
taken some
remembers
notes. But I mean, just to summarize it, most of education we're worried about, knowledge essentially. And this was really about, desires of the heart. So it was more about understanding behavior in the lens of heart issues, understanding education in the lens of heart issues. So just again, the Dorothy Sayers essay was obviously the genesis of the title, which was Recovering Lost Tools of Learning. Well, this is about loving, so it's the other side of it. And it was a good message. It was easily summarized, though. I mean, it wasn't necessarily like there was many layers to it, but an angle that we're maybe not always thinking of. I do think we get into that, but it's in disciplinary issues when it comes up, not necessarily as like a primary focus when you're planning a curriculum. Like, what are these students' passions or desires? You're not necessarily thinking of that, but just another side to educating.
Yeah.
It's a catchy title.
Certainly grabs the attention.
Kevin and I were in all 3 together this afternoon. So our second one was on
Great time.
faculty formation and CCE. So kind of talked about some things that,
Sounds riveting.
Yeah, real exciting.
yeah, there were some helpful things in the last third or so.
We lost all our live viewers.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wasn't gonna stay there. The other one was on the house system.
Oh yeah.
There
Creating
you
a
go.
culture of virtue.
Yeah.
So I think we had 4 of us
Mhm.
from our group in that one. So that one was interesting, talking through even things as small as like house banners,
Mhm.
but then going out. So within our school, so we have bi-weekly house meetings, only for about 15 minutes or so, or until other kids from another house come to the door and then you release.
Right.
But a lot of times that time isn't super planned out or super productive or doesn't have this overall strategy or goal to it. So we talk about having student house leaders at this particular school. And this was just looking at, was it 6th through 8th that they talked through? I want to say it was just like kind of that logic level.
Yeah.
And so a little bit different in overall scope, but then they talk through house level service projects. Basically having a reward system throughout the whole year, which I think we've discussed at least behind the scenes.
Right.
And then a quarterly house winner and 4 different categories for points. So competition. So it could be physical competition. It could be a mental competition, like a spelling bee or recitation or something similar, or it could be some type of like skill or art or craft challenge where you're doing like an egg drop challenge and you have to make the egg not break from a certain height. So a certain challenge like that, that would be the competition piece, which we're familiar with.
Were you describing art as an egg drop challenge?
No, the commas.
They were
there
2
commas in
separate
that.
things.
It could be. Decorum is the second one. So I mentioned God is a God of order. So turning order from chaos. So they actually mentioned that they don't have doors on their lockers, which I was sitting next to Mrs. Severs and we looked at each other like, we could do that. So basically you have regular locker checks going through and see, all right, like this locker is messy. You don't get a point. This is a well-organized locker. That's a point for your house. Go through all the lockers, total up the house points, and then have that be a score. So regular things like locker checks could be uniforms as well. So it's okay. We're just going to look throughout the room and assembly. I see these girls are missing their cross ties. This guy's missing his tie. These are not points for their houses, but all the other houses get points.
Yeah.
So things like that from decorum, that was interesting because those are things that we look at, but we haven't really gamified it in a house.
Incentivize it,
system way.
gamify it.
Yeah. So that was
I like that.
definitely helpful to think through. And they talk through how to scale these points appropriately as well. So you're not just a missing cross tie isn't the same as winning a house competition finale. So then nobility is the third category. So it could be scripture, memory, but it's also kind of that sex piety or virtue. Are the boys opening the doors for the girls? Are they letting the girls leave the classroom first? Are you seeing chivalry on display?
Are they shoving each other,
Right.
running up the stairs?
Yep. And so are the boys acting like gentlemen? Are the girls acting like ladies?
Mm.
So that's nobility. And the
Could you
fourth,
lose points for stealing mints from the church?
so they
We could.
yeah,
They
we
couldn't.
could. They said they did
They were
not
losing a
do
lot of
point
points, bro.
deductions. They do not do point
Oh, they don't do
deductions.
deductions.
They don't do deductions for the same reason I want to do deductions.
Right. Yeah.
So they were looking at it saying, well, if one person is being a fool and keep losing points for their house and their house loses, then that's going to be a negative experience where everybody's upset at them. I'm like, yeah, be upset at them and call them to a higher standard. Absolutely.
They basically said this: the student population who gets in trouble, doesn't care about house competitions, and doesn't care what other people think is basically just it's not even a Venn
not a pie
diagram.
chart,
It's just a
it's
big
a
old circle.
circle.
These are just concentric circles. But
We have to talk
we
more
can
about
chat
it.
through
but
it.
I'm all about it. Hogwarts
But
style.
yeah,
I was just gonna say I didn't want to make fun of what you're saying, but you just want to walk around and say 10 points from Gryffindor.
For
don't you?
sheer
Yes.
10
moral
points from
fiber.
Gryffindor.
they actually did have a sword, and so they
The Sword of Gryffindor.
they have like a mythical story about how people are selected into houses. So they say they have sheets of paper out and they wave the sword over, and then the names magically appear, and then they call the students up when they're new to the school, and they get they get knighted, or
Knighted.
maybe it's only when they get knighted
They
after
do.
8th grade.
Yeah, they get knighted to high school.
Yeah, they get knighted into
Oh,
high
wow.
school, but they have to walk under the sword, I think, to get in
Yeah.
the house. So they have all
It's amazing.
these traditions around this sword.
Well, they have some award systems that they have plaques that they put on the walls. They have their virtues. I mean, things that would be interesting to do once we have our own building,
Mhm.
so that when new families walk by, it's, hey, this is who we are. These are the things we do. So that when kids are walking by, they're visually reminded of the weight of the house code and the house competition, things like that.
Yeah, fourth category that they get points on is for service. So I mentioned service projects. He
Mhm.
held up a stack of like 400
400.
papers, and I want to say he said they have 90 students or maybe
Mhm.
120 students. He
Yeah.
said like each one of those papers represents like a submitted service project from one of the kids. So averaging four or so service projects
Yeah.
done throughout the year. And so they do a project. They have to like write a summary and submit it for points
And present
essentially.
it somewhere.
Yeah, some type of presentation. So they do houses much more frequently. Sounds like they do assembly, which is one of the reasons a lot of this you have to take with a grain of salt because it's just different structure.
Context, yeah.
They do
Right.
assembly on Monday mornings, and then they do houses Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings
Oh, wow.
during that
Mm.
15-minute time.
And then a competition on Thursday
And then,
afternoons, right?
yeah, then every Thursday afternoon for 1 hour, a competition.
Whoa.
So they do, an hour and 45 minutes every week of house related activities. And so,
Holy cow.
But that's also their PE credit.
is it every day or just, I think they have some PE also.
Mm.
That wasn't maybe clear, at least to me.
Something like that.
But yeah, service projects and presentations. But yeah, and they talk through physical pieces of culture. So house awards, servant of the year, winners get a pin for their jacket. Mentioned the house swords. Student-led houses was probably one of the other big aspects.
Mhm.
So they have student leaders that, again, 8th grade is the oldest. So they have 7th graders who submit an application, and then one of them is selected, or multiple are selected to be the leaders for the house. So they have a leader for, they have the prefect, which is the head of the house. They have the chaplain, which is the person who does the charges and the prayers for the house. And then what's the
The head boy.
quaestor? I don't know.
Queester?
Some competition leader.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
This probably sounds
They
like
cap out
Latin.
at 8th grade though. They don't do it there.
So they have a separate building for
Oh.
the
Oh,
schools
their high
9th
school.
through 12th. And so they said just logistically, doing it weekly, it certainly would be,
Mm.
was just too much to tackle of figuring out
Yeah.
where do you go? How do you get all the students together? And so they have a separate house system in their high school building
Okay.
than
Yeah.
what they have
And,
here.
and so they have a different student leader in charge each of the days. So assembly on Monday, Tuesday it would be the prefect talking about virtue formation. Wednesday it'd be the chaplain with like a devotion and spiritual formation, and then Thursday it would be the athletic one, whatever it's called,
The competitor leader.
the competitor leader strategizing. Hey, we have these games. We want these people doing these things, and getting them thinking strategically.
If we do that service project thing, we should definitely weave it into our conversation about our new lease. Many service projects, lower rent.
Lower rent. That's an option.
Is it still service at that point? It sounds like it.
Just saying. Maybe.
It's a thought. It's a
It
thought.
would be a lot of fun.
It's on
to
the
do.
internet now,
I
so.
think we're probably too young, but do like a Habitat for Humanity build or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Would be a lot of fun.
That'd be sweet.
So yeah, and then the fourth, one of the other areas they talked through was athletics and the house games. So just different ways that they've structured it. And there's certain aspects that, again, I like our competition based way a little bit different. But one of the benefits they have is just having much closer grades, just 6th through 8th. it's a lot easier to have competitive competitions
Yeah.
than our like first grader and a 12th grader
Right.
doing the same thing. They also split boys and girls for a lot of their stuff, so just have more competition. They have an MVP speech, which I thought was interesting. So
That's interesting.
you kind of say like, all right, who showed virtue in the challenge, and kind of call it out in front of people. Like, hey, this person showed virtue when they did this, when their team was down, and they showed encouragement and joy in the midst of trial.
So the V in MVP in that situation is virtuous.
They actually
the
said
most virtuous person,
they said
Many
most
virtuous
valuable.
persons.
or most virtuous prefect.
I think it was just person.
They said they did say most valuable, but
they did say valuable, but
many
it was virtuous.
sounds like it's several people though,
Okay,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
an
they
evidence of
just
grace
nominated a
sharing
bunch
kind of
of
a
people.
thing.
just calling out virtue.
So yeah, quarterly winners, and then one winner at the end of the year. Winner of it all gets the name etched into the sword. So the sword
That's awesome.
House
has
name.
like a running list of the winners every year,
Hmm.
which I think is cool.
Yep.
Again,
That is cool.
Do we know a blacksmith?
Yeah,
You do?
bro. Isn't there?
Chandler
Isn't,
Smith.
no, Bill Berger. Didn't he make that
You know, he did-
sign in the church that has a sacred city
that's
thing
different.
in metal?
I mean,
How about something
he's
like
a metal.
glass?
He's a
We know
metal
some
worker
glass
and
and-
Yeah,
welder.
we could do a glass sword.
Mhm.
You think a metal
Glass
worker
boat.
can etch a name and a sword? Yeah, he totally can
like
do that.
No, I'm talking about
Sounds
forging a sword.
Oh, okay.
yeah, you just buy a sword and then just
Oh.
etch the name in.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I'll,
We can figure
I can,
something out.
Didn't y'all get swords when you became elders? Yeah, Justin just bought them. I know.
Amazon.
I've got an
Amazon.
anvil and I can light a really hot fire. if you
See,
want.
that's
Do you have
the
a big
effort
hammer?
I'm looking
Yes.
for.
You got an anvil? That's awesome.
That's what he does his curls with.
No, I write notes on it.
Lots of notes.
All right. Anything else before we log off here?
Looking forward to anything in day 2 or 3?
I have not even looked at it. Is Lennox has to be talking tomorrow. Yeah, looking forward to listening to him.
Would that be the Boniface Award winner?
Lennox
Or-
Calafangwa. I wonder if
assume?
he is representing Bodie.
Bodie, yeah.
That might be.
Yeah, I bet that
as
is-
a plenary speaker.
Well, whoever wins the Boniface Award obviously does a
Gives
plenary
the-
talk.
yeah.
But Bodie can't do that, so I think he's doing it for him.
So Vadi would have won the Boniface.
He did
Oh, he did.
before he passed away.
Oh, really? Okay.
for the second time.
What do you win
Was
it
he
for?
at that first year?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was his. He
Then maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe they-
Maybe there's a
What do you
different
win it
Boniface.
for?
Find out tomorrow.
Do we know?
what's I mean, it's on the app.
Well,
probably.
that year he won it for I think his
Uh,
basically speaking out against Black Lives Matter stuff.
right.
So that was like 2021 or
Yeah.
What's the book
Okay.
called? Fault Lines?
Fault lines, yeah.
Let's see.
While you're finding that, I'm also looking forward to. I'm gonna try and get George and David on the mic tomorrow.
George Grant and Dave Goodwin.
Mhm.
Yep. Lennox will go on Saturday. That's at 11:15 a.m. And then George will, I think it's George Grant closing us out.
I'm
Why?
gonna stay for that though.
Tomorrow we have, I can read through them. We have
Why is he?
The Return of Christendom.
Why is he on the schedule for tomorrow at 9:30 to 5? Then
Who is?
Lennox.
Oh, he's
That's
up
the
twice.
failed experiment of multiculturalism. Is what I've got.
With Lennox Calafungwa.
Yeah.
Tomorrow at 9:45 a.m.
Yeah. I thought we were talking about the Boniface award. That's going to go on Saturday.
But he is doing that, the Boniface Award.
I'm not sure.
We don't know that.
Boniface.
Oh, right. Yeah, because it just says Boniface. No, so
Yeah.
it's probably not Lennox then.
Oh yeah, not if he's speaking earlier. You wouldn't think.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're right about the voting thing, because there's only 10 minutes scheduled for it.
So maybe they're not doing a talk. They're just going to honor voting.
Right. That could
Yeah.
that could be it. That could be it. Interesting. We'll see.
All right. If you're watching, is anybody watching?
Currently one live viewer. Is it Robert?
Oh, hey. So if you're the one live viewer, or if you watch this before tomorrow, chime in and let us know if there's anything you want to hear about tomorrow.
Are we doing this tomorrow?
No, we're staying for the evening stuff tomorrow.
Oh, dang. Sorry.
Sorry.
Never mind.
We could live. I can live stream from my phone, dude. We could
We could
live
do
stream
it.
Oh, no,
from
that
anywhere.
was me. I was watching this.
We could do it from dinner.
It was John the whole time.
and I liked it, and I click to like the video.
Those-
like I saw
I
it, like
I did subscribe. Yeah.
I can
Did you share it?
I
did.
can stream
Oh,
from anywhere, so we could. All right,
I did not share it.
last words. All done.
Christ is Lord.
There we go.
Christ is
Amen.
King.
don't take notes.
Don't take.
Just saying.